Everybody, I think this is working, but I'm not sure. Message me in the chat if you are here. Type in what state you're from. Logging in. Testing. Hey, everybody. I bet you're wondering why I am here on a Sunday afternoon enjoying time off. Well, it is tax season, so I thought I would come and help other people that have been curious to know, do it yourself, financial information. So first I'm going to talk about why I became an accountant and why I started in the profession. I've always been a do-it-yourself type of person. If I didn't know the answer, I'd research the answer. So years ago, when I was first married, I was very young. We had less than $1,000 in the bank account. And I've foregone going to college to have 2 children. Within a few years after being married, my husband decided to own his own business. I was scared about him quitting his job. I didn't work full time and I did not have a career yet. Neither one of us had a clue on what we were doing financially in the business. So we just stacked our receipts on the desk. I was good at math, but when it came to hiring employees, hiring subcontractors, billing, quotes, record keeping, I had no clue what to do. I didn't learn anything about running a business at home or in high school. I'm sure the rest of you feel the same way. So you started your new business. You don't know, not sure what to do. I get so many questions when it comes to tax time and throughout the year from new business owners or owners that have been in the business for just a couple of years, but they struggle to meet and the profit's not there. So I'm in your same boat years ago. During my husband's first year, what I did was I saw an ad in the paper. Oh, and yes, the newspaper was still around then. There was a local tax franchise that was holding tax classes. I immediately signed up. I took the class, but my head was spinning in circles. Now, probably what you're feeling right now. I was still not convinced I knew what I was doing, so I worked for that franchise for 2 years. During that time, I recognized my husband had to keep good records. So fast forward, I now help other entrepreneurs avoid the lessons learned. So I became a CPA and a certified tax coach. Now I help others to skip their next tax payment, and that's what I'm famous for, helping entrepreneurs skip their next tax payment. I am a service provider, and it is my responsibility to help make the business profitable. So again, I'm known as Skip Your Next Tax Payment. The first thing I want to talk about. Hi, Clara. Sorry, got to put the glasses on and off. Glad you're here. I'm going to first talk about bookkeeping. And there's 5 topics that I'm going to talk about today. Don't do what my husband and I did, ignoring it, because it won't go away. But one thing that's important to know is keep it simple. If you don't have cash in your bank account, do not feel you need to purchase accounting software. Keep your expenses low until you have increased your revenues. I have small business owners who still do it manually, but have no desire to increase their revenues or grow their business. So don't feel pressured. If you're feeling pressured that you got to do something like QuickBooks Online because everybody else is doing it, don't feel like you need to do that. But if you're in a growth mode, control your finances through automation. And what I mean, automation, that means using software, not doing the paper or the pencil. But before you step into the automation role, using online QuickBooks or QuickBooks Desktop, Xero, FreshBooks, there are tons of accounting software out there. Before you start utilizing those automations, because a lot of them can do what we call is bank feeds, and that is transactions will automatically feed into your accounting software. What you want to make sure you have a personal checking account and a personal savings bank account. And these are questions I'm going to ask you. So answer yes if you got them all. Do you have a separate business checking or a business savings and a business tax bank account? Do you have for business owners and 1099 contractors, do you have a process set aside for taxes? Do you put it in a savings tax account? Have you implemented a no manual check policy, meaning all your banking is electronic? Do you have a clear picture of all your debits, credits, vendors, and can you pay them online? Hey, great. Then you are ready to go automate. So if you are not ready to automate, what is your next step? For each of those questions I asked, start implementing them. Does that make sense? Anybody can tell me what their software you're using now? Nope. Okay, let's go on to the second point that I want to, a must to know. A lot of my small business owners are confused about taxes and how their company is structured. There are several ways to form your company for tax purposes. There's misunderstanding of legal versus tax formation. The first one is a sole proprietorship, and that's the most simplest form an entity can be created. That's where you just put your shingle outside and just open your doors and start servicing or selling or production. The second one is an LLC, which I'm sure a lot of people are hearing about this LLC. It also can be a single member LLC. An LLC is really, as far as the IRS is concerned, an LLC is not a company and they don't recognize an LLC. So you either have to be a sole proprietorship. Another option is a partnership. And a partnership is just double sole proprietorship. I know that's a weird way of describing it, but you have at least two partners who are doing business together with the same objective. So an LLC can also be an S corporation or a C corporation. So not to confuse those, the S corporation is what we call a pass-through. And why we call it as a pass-through is because some of the profits pass to your individual tax return. The C corporation is actually, for tax purposes, is an entity all by itself. It pays its own taxes. So as somebody grows their business, owners will convert legally from sole proprietor to forming an LLC. That doesn't mean automatically you opt in to the other types of entities for tax structure. You have to formally apply for the tax structures with the IRS. I see startups think that their LLC is an S corporation, but they're not. And then come tax time, owners owe more taxes than what they projected. It happens a lot with do-it-yourself. Does anybody have questions on taxes? I know it is a boring subject, but these are important points to that are really important for small business owners, and especially ones that are new at it, can't afford to seek professional help, and it's just things that you need to know and do it yourself. And remember, I've always been a do-it-yourself person. Any questions on either topic so far? All right, we'll go on to the third topic, which is financials. How many know what financial statements are? Oh, somebody does. Financial statements are made up, and they're reports that us accountants call them and bankers call them. It's made up of a balance sheet. The balance sheet has subcategories: assets, cash, inventory, equipment, or property that the business owns. It's also made up of business credit card debt, payables, and loans. And the goal is to have more assets than liability, which equal net worth. That's what your business is worth. That's what you could be worth. And it's added into the bucket of other streams, investments that you might have, such as your home, your car, you might have rentals. So a question I have: why gain control over your finances? Your business needs to sustain itself, or you will have problems paying yourself and meeting your personal needs. Cash coming in must be more than cash coming out. Mistakes that I see are people borrowing money on their personal credit, taking personal money to continue to operate your business. Assess what you're doing. If it's not working, make changes. Doing the same thing day in and day out will give you the same results. So make sure you make changes. So if you see that you are not bringing home money to sustain your personal needs at home, your business needs to change. Your finances are not right. Any more questions? I'll go on to the fourth thing that a business owner must know, and that is compliance. You need to be keeping your records, including receipts used on your credit cards. And I mean, you need to keep those receipts. Those debit cards, you need to keep those receipts. If you're ever audited, you'll need to have those receipts. Those credit card statements are not valid without those receipts, because what the IRS is looking for is any, like your debit card, you can take cash out, so they don't want you to try to expense what you've taken out in cash. So you need to keep your records for 7 years. Longer if there is determination the IRS may see some fraud that's involved. But as long as you keep good records and you're in compliance and not trying to deduct what you cannot do without compliance, you'll be fine. Another area of concern is keeping your personal transactions separate, especially if you're an LLC, a partnership, a C Corp, or a S corporation. And that means having separate personal account. So things that you pay for your household needs to go into from your personal account and not your business. And the reason for that is, in legal terms, that's what's called piercing the corporate veil. So the IRS, if you're commingling those funds, the IRS can say that this is not a separate entity from your personal life. And then for tax purposes, if you are structured as an S or a C Corp partnership, they can deny those forms of entities, and then you're clear back to a sole prop if you're the only owner. Another compliance thing, pay your taxes. Make sure you pay those. The IRS is not forgiven on those taxes, even though there's options of doing an offer and compromise, but you can only do those every 5 years. That's one time every 5 years. And that's not good compliance. That's not being in good standing. Some of your states require you to make sure that your taxes are paid and you're in good standing to be able even to run your business in that state. Another compliance issue that you want to remember is find out if your state or city has reporting requirements. Every state is different, and even within the same state, each city has their own legal requirements as far as compliance. Anybody questions on compliance? So the next area topic I want to talk about is budget. So you think accounting is for geeks? Think again. Imagine you decide to open up a bakery. You love to bake. You think you bake goods that are really tasty enough to be sold. So you just go out there, rent a location, and get started. You know you need pots, pans, ingredients to start baking. And of course you need a stove or you can't bake. I did a bakery like 15, 20 years ago, and it's hard work and it takes money. Let's say you accumulate all these expenses and start baking your heart out, knowing that people will love it. After slaving away for days, you finally make your first batch of cookies to sell. You head over to the local market, and then you display your cookies and watch people walk by your booth. People come and go. Some stop to purchase, others ask for free samples. So at the end of the day, you head back to the bakery thrilled because you almost sold out. You count up your cash. You made $740. Awesome. Great day for a first day. But then you remember your credit card statement comes in with all the expenses you racked up on the process of opening your shop. There isn't enough cash to pay it off, even with the extra $740. What happened? Well, budgeting is like goal setting. Without budgeting, you would just make do even if you make tons of money. Cash out is higher than cash in, then you are going to be in the red. That's a term that we use a lot, red. That means you are in the hole. You don't have enough money to pay your bills. So this is where accounting and budgeting comes in. You have decisions to make. You have systems in place. Garbage in, garbage out. Without systems, you can't tell if you're making a profit or a loss. You want to be paid by your business, right? Or perhaps you are a not-for-profit. Oh, I don't think so. You're not doing this for a not-for-profit. I think you're doing this business to make some money too. So I did have a question come in on what a woman that is busy, too busy to do those menial bookkeeping tasks, one thing you want to consider is the automation part of your software. That is when you, like QuickBooks Online, and I'm not saying I recommend QuickBooks Online, but a lot of people are using it. I'm using it for a couple of my clients. I am still a desktop QuickBooks version. That's because I can own the data. The data sits on my computer and I own it and nobody can take it away from me. And also the desktop version is just more simple to use. So if you're, for example, using QuickBooks Online, you have a connection to your bank, and that's part of the setup with QuickBooks Online. It's easy to do, but it can be tricky when there's what we call is feeds. So when QuickBooks, so you have Intuit, and then you have your QuickBooks Online or your bank. So what they call is a feed, and it'll automatically feed over into your Intuit. Your QuickBooks Online software, even desktop version, has a system that you can do the feeds to, and it'll automatically sit in a bucket for you to review before it gets posted to your software. So that is really rapidly recording your transactions. And once the initial setup is done, it's real easy to do. So for a busy person, it's the quickest way to get your bookkeeping done. Also, one thing for a busy person, can't talk, for a business owner to think about is bookkeeping is a very lower paying thing to do. That's why a lot of business owners feel like they just can do it themselves. But think about this. If you have a billing rate of $50 per hour, and then you want a bookkeeper is paid $10 an hour, wouldn't it make sense to free up your time from the bookkeeping and just pay someone to do it, and you bring in the revenues at $50 an hour? So that's like $40 difference. I would say that is a no-brainer. $40 income, well, $50 income, and your expenses is $10 an hour. So it is not cost effective to continue to do it yourself. So those are the things that I want to give feedback on for the busy entrepreneur. So is there any other questions? So I really have a sweet offer that I want to, for those watching now or the replay. If you want to learn more about being in business the right way, do you want to learn more so you can be self-sufficient? You're in the right place, as I have an offer. I am starting a 6-week course on financial awareness. This is both personal and business. The course will put the building blocks in place for financial success. So if you're thinking about starting a business, you're new at starting a business, you've been struggling with do it yourself and just don't understand what you need to do, why you need to do it, then this course would be really good for you. So what I am looking for is a few small biz owners who want to take their knowledge to the next level. The catch is, this is a new program and it's free for the moment. So I am looking for participants that will provide me feedback for each of these modules. So there's a module for each week. It's a 6 weeks. So you would need to give me feedback each week. That's the only catch. So it's a great opportunity to start understanding your business. You will be invited to come to the Facebook group where you can ask questions. If you have questions on the modules, didn't understand a module, that's a place to ask. So if you are interested in that 6-week program, please comment yes, or you can actually PM me and let me know. There's a questionnaire I want to have filled out so I have an understanding before the program launches, and I will be launching it in April. I haven't set a date yet. It's questionnaire asking your industry and that type of thing, so I understand what my audience is, because each industry has different needs. So it's a great offer. So take me up on it. Any more questions? If not, you guys know how to reach me. I'm in the Facebook group, and I hope to see you in the 6-week program. Talk to you later.